Hi, I'm Debbie and welcome to Vintage Food Farm. Today we're going to do a tour of the front of our block, which is where we are starting our self-sufficient food forest, which is very exciting. When we first moved in, we had so much we wanted to do. We wanted to plant the vegetable garden, we wanted to sort the shed out, we wanted to furnish the house, but we knew that the smartest thing to do would be to plant the fruit trees. There is literally an old Chinese proverb that says, when's the best time to plant a fruit tree? And the answer is 20 years ago, and the second best time is today. Before we start in the food forest, I just want to show you a couple of established fruit trees that I forgot to show you in the last video, just because they're so cool. This is a star fruit tree, and this one is actually in our chicken run. And this tree is a dream, and I'll tell you why. You can see all the hundreds, thousands of tiny little star fruit on every single branch. This is star fruit when it's ready to eat. So these are big ones that the cockatoos have dropped off. So the reason that this tree is such a dream is that the chickens eat the star fruit. And the advantage, which is normally a disadvantage, is the cockatoos all sit in this tree and look down and wait to see if I'm ever going to drop some sunflower seeds or some corn or something for the chickens because they want to eat it. And they bite off all of the star fruit. They don't eat it. They probably only take one bite out of every 5 pieces of fruit, but they drop it on the ground and then the chickens can go around and eat the star fruit, which is a very nice relationship. This is another tree that I'm about to show you that I forgot to show you in the last video. But again, it's such a great tropical fruit tree that I really needed to show you. This is a soursop tree. So that's a soursop tree, huge tree, really prolific fruiter. That's a little baby soursop right there. So they will get to be, you know, a kilo or more each. And I'll just show you some flowers. So you can see all of these little flowers all the way up the stem. If they're pollinated, will turn into soursop. Beautiful fruit. Same sort of texture as a custard apple, but obviously a more sour flavour. So I'm going to show you now the front half of our block, which I'm going to guess is about an acre, and that is what we have started our food forest on. So just as a general sweep of the area, so these fruit trees were all planted 2 years ago, but it's this whole front of the block which probably has too many fruit trees planted, but I'll go through now and I'll show you exactly what we've got. I'll show you this really exciting thing before we start to go through the fruit trees. This is giant bamboo. It is so stunning. So you can use the bamboo shoots and you can chop them up and soak them in brine and cook them and eat them as bamboo shoots. But what we use it for mostly is for garden stakes. So if we have a tree or a plant that needs staking up, we just cut down the bamboo, split it and use it as a garden stake, and it lasts for ages. So when I say giant bamboo, have a look at this. So beautiful. And so huge, and it grows so quickly. Just look, I'll try and get in here. Not stand on a snake if possible. Just look at the stems. It reminds me of a beautiful Asian wallpaper. So this is the first of many fruit trees that I'll show you, and it's probably my favourite, and that is a dragon's tooth mango. So this is 2 years old, and I'd say it's 2 metres tall already, and I would not be surprised if we started to get fruit on that next year. This is another mango tree, another dragon's tooth mango tree. Not quite as big, probably because it's in the roots of this big old gum tree. This is an egg fruit, which is a small tropical yellow fruit, which tastes like egg custard. So I've got a bit of a problem here because I've actually forgotten what this tree is, and I've Google imaged it, Google Lens searched it, and it's coming up as cacao. But I don't know that it is cacao, so if anybody does know what it is, let me know, please. So this is it. It is about 4 meters tall. These are the leaves, if that helps anyone to identify it. Very healthy. This next tree was here when we came. It was very, very woody and overgrown, and the old owner said that it hadn't fruited in ages. They'd tried heaps of stuff. So it's a tropical pear, and I'll show you this. So hopefully we will get some fruit off that one day. I've never had a tropical pear. I did not even know there was such a thing as a tropical pear. This is one of the many bush lemons planted around the place. I've also got some more still in pots that I need to plant. Just look at the size of the spikes. They are killers. But the lemons are really, really beautiful, and the zest is really fragrant. So if you didn't hear in the first video, this lemon tree actually originates from an old Chinese gold mining panning site on the side of a river just down the road a little bit. I don't know where it is, it's a secret location, but I did manage to get some of the seeds. So we've planted heaps of these bush lemon trees everywhere. You can see here we have another cluster of bananas, and you'll notice that under everything and inside the cages that are protecting the trees from, not that there's a tree there I don't think, from the wallabies, is this Singapore daisy. So Singapore daisy is a noxious weed. The only good thing about the Singapore daisy is that the chickens eat it and also the wallabies eat it. And it's not that offensive with its pretty little yellow flowers. We do what we can to control it, but really there is no way that we could ever, if we tried. It's everywhere. This next tree is a lemon myrtle tree, which I absolutely love the smell of. So lemon myrtle is a native Australian plant. It smells like the best lemongrass ever. You can use it to flavour all sorts of things, but one of the things that we really like to do is to make like a Thai curry, but then to use the lemon myrtle leaves as the flavour instead of Thai basil, and it's absolutely beautiful. You can get lemon myrtle yogurt, lots of things are flavoured with lemon myrtle, and you can even make a beautiful tea out of it. One of the best plants that we've got. I absolutely love it, and it's starting to really take off now, which is fantastic. So this tree here is a tamarind tree. We only just planted that about 6 months ago. Tamarind is grown all over India, Sri Lanka, Southeast Asia, and it's great for, say, sour soup or curries. Anything, you could replace lime with tamarind in lots of things. Really, really yummy. It's got like a seed pod with like a sour paste around the seeds, and you scrape out the seeds and add the paste to your cooking. Absolutely beautiful. I can't wait for that to grow. Down the front here, we have 3 jackfruit. So jackfruit looks like a durian, I absolutely love durian, but everyone I know hates it. But a jackfruit is much less stinky and offensive, so people tend to like that more. And the funny thing is, we planted these 3 jackfruits up the front, and then my daughter messaged me a couple of days ago and said, oh, you've got 2 jackfruit trees up the front. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I planted them. This is what I call the front of the block, and that's the back of the block. She was calling the back of the block the front of the block, and amazingly we have 2 jackfruit trees that have just grown up out of nowhere. So I don't know if birds dropped seeds or if somebody planted them before we came and they've only just come up, but I'll show you those at the end. But yeah, just these 2 rogue jackfruit trees, which are probably 2 years old. It's fantastic. So this is a bush lemon that is absolutely struggling, and I don't even know if it will survive. I don't know what's wrong with it. We've given it heaps of fertiliser, and it hasn't changed at all. I'm not that worried about it because we have so many lemon trees everywhere, but yeah, it's a shame. But we'll just leave it and see what happens. If you can see through there to the chicken run, that's an avocado tree. This is a really weird, funky fungus that's come up after the rain. Hello. It's really amazing that chickens just know what they can eat and what they can't eat. I was really worried then that the chicken was going to eat the fungus because it does not look good. But yeah, they just know. You don't have to worry about what chickens eat. They'll eat what they can and they won't eat what they're not meant to. This tree here is an ice cream bean. So ice cream bean grows big seed pods, and inside the seed pods are the seeds, and then around the seeds is sort of like a dry floss. And it tastes like vanilla ice cream. It's pretty amazing. And I'll show you this weed. It's really interesting. This is called sensitive weed, and when you touch it, it actually closes up. So I'll show you. And what was funny was when we went to Malaysia once, we went on a tour of some gardens, and they called it shy weed. So same sort of theory. It closes up as soon as you touch it. Really cool. But a noxious weed, so not so cool. Okay, so I've spent 5 minutes on my phone trying to work out what this tree is, and I have forgotten. We just planted so many at once, and I never really focused that much on what it was. I bought it if we liked the idea of it, and then I figured by the time it fruits, then we will know what it is. But I'll show you if anybody knows what it is. So it's doing really well, nice and healthy. So I don't know if you can see right up the top of these trees, which are just native rainforest trees, we have passion fruit everywhere. So we do get a lot of passion fruit that get bitten off by the cockatoos and dropped on the ground. Pretty convenient. This tree here is a mulberry tree. We have another mulberry tree up towards the house as well, and then one over in the chicken coop and one behind the shed. So we've got 4 mulberry trees in total, and we love mulberries. I know a lot of people don't like mulberries because they drop on the ground and stain everything that sort of purpley red. But I love the idea that when the mulberries drop on the ground, the chickens are going to eat them, and there's some more super eggs. So all through here is cassava. So cassava, that's all cassava, cassava over here. And these will grow to about 7 metres tall. They're huge. So cassava is like a really big, woody, yam type, under the ground tuber. and it is also known as tapioca, but you can make really, really great cassava chips. Very yummy. These plants are like yuccas. The previous owner told us that you can eat the roots of those, but I don't know what they are and I'd need to do more research. But you can just see here the cassava coming up everywhere. So it grew big last year and then it all dropped and now it's coming back up again. That's all cassava, all cassava. This tree here has only just been planted and that's a Fura mandarin. This is another thing that's really amazing. The whole block is covered in these, not staghorns, but like elk horns that just naturally grow in the rainforest. So beautiful. This here, our neighbours gave us this when we first moved in. I don't know what the name of it is, but it's the berries that the wampu pigeons eat. So a wampu pigeon is the most beautiful bird I've ever seen in my life. It's got all these different colours on it and it's got gold on it, but it's not a golden colour. It's like it's got actual gold in its feathers, and they eat those berries, so we really want to encourage those birds to come here. So we've planted 3 of the wampu pigeon berry trees. All through here you can see all the cassava. Just goes forever. And if you leave it, it will drop and spread like wildfire. All cassava. And you can also eat the cassava leaves as well. They need to be boiled, but they eat these in Asia all the time, cassava leaves. So there's the little chicken and guinea fowl following me around. You'll see that there's been chickens following me the whole time. They're so adorable. So down at the front of the block here, this is another bunch of bananas. That's the front gate. Here's Mr. and Mrs. Guinea, who are also following me around everywhere. Pretty cute. Hello. What you doing? This is a moringa tree. So we've got 4 or 5 moringa tree on the block. So yes, that's the saddest tree you've ever seen. So we've got we've got 4 moringa trees on the block. This one I thought was completely dead. So even though it does look really sad, it's pretty exciting because you can see that there's new leaves on that. Moringa is a beautiful, you use the leaves in soups, in curries, whatever. It's really good for you and it's really yummy. This is another pretty sad specimen of a tree, which is a curry leaf tree. We've got another one that's really healthy up near the shed, so I usually use that one. But this would be one of my favourite trees. You can see the curry berries up the top there. But if you just chuck a couple of curry leaves into a curry, it adds so much flavour and fragrance. So that's the front gate. It's an electric gate, which you really appreciate immensely in the tropics because it rains so hard that just to get out of the car to open the gate, you would be soaked. And this is the driveway. And just to get a sense of how much water, it rained really hard last night and you can just see it's washed all the leaves down. This is one of the most beautiful places on the block. And this rainforest bush goes for ages. And it's so cool. It's like 10 degrees cooler than outside. So pretty. You can see it's all just natural. That's a huge old tree that's fallen down. That's a termite's nest. that's growing up so they can eat all that wood. Just stunning. The other thing this rainforest is good for is bugs. Isn't it, Miss Pepper? There's the baby guinea just trying to get some bugs out of all this leaf litter. So beautiful. You'll see on the ground there's these purple berries. No idea what they are. They're everywhere, so they've dropped from one of these trees. This is an olive tree that we planted when we first moved in, and it would be 3 meters high now. And I know olive trees shouldn't grow in the tropics, but it is. We'll just see if we do get fruit from it one day. So this is the other healthier curry leaf tree. Not in a really good location, but because we cut it so much to eat it, I don't think it will ever turn into a really big tree, so we're just going to try and keep it as a plant. If you scrunch up the curry leaves, the smell is just so beautiful. Oh, it's so good. This is another plant, another edible plant that I haven't shown you before, and this is called Queensland arrowroot. I've never actually eaten it yet, but you eat the tubers underneath like a potato. It's called Queensland arrowroot, so that's another really self-sufficient food to have around the place. So before we finish up, I just want to show you 2 more things down the back of the block. The first one is the 2 jackfruit trees that my daughter found yesterday. I'll show you here. So they are definitely jackfruit. About 4 meters tall. They might struggle because they're underneath the big gums and the mango trees, but still fantastic find. That's some turmeric. Heaps and heaps of turmeric. And this is called sweet leaf or cyamanus. Heaps and heaps and heaps of it. But there's even turmeric growing in the bush. So sweet leaf is another beautiful green. They eat it a lot in Malaysia, and you can use that anywhere, in any sort of food. You can soups, curries, stews, you name it. It needs to be cooked for a little bit longer than most greens, but that gives it a really nice, it doesn't turn too soft. It's very, very yummy, really green flavour. So that brings to an end the tour of the front of our block, which is our self-sufficient food forest that we started 2 years ago. I've really enjoyed showing you. I hope you enjoyed seeing it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, but most importantly, stay calm in the farm.